Late stage ACL rehab is where everyone wants to get to, but not everyone does. It's the fun stage. You're jumping, lifting heavier, moving like an athlete, and finally starting to feel like yourself again. But here's the truth that nobody talks about. This is the phase where most people hit their biggest setbacks. Not because late stage training is complicated, but because they tried to move on to what they want to be ready for instead of what their knee is actually prepared to handle. And almost every time, the real problem started months earlier. Maybe the early phase wasn't dialed in. Maybe the mid-stage didn't build enough strength, power, or control. Or maybe their plan never used proper testing and those important milestones weren't actually met, even if you thought they weren't. So when people get to month 7, 8, 9, they feel stuck, frustrated, or confused about why they're experiencing setbacks. Or worse, they think things are fine, but their program isn't preparing them for their active lifestyle. And they often don't realize it until it's too late. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what the late stage of ACL recovery should look like, what goals truly matter, how to know if you're actually ready for this phase, and what must be in place from the earlier stages so you don't hit those common plateaus that people run into here. If you're new here, my name is Kahl, and I'm a physical therapist specializing in ACL recovery. Through my online coaching platform, ACLRX, I've helped hundreds of active people fully rebuild their strength, confidence, and athleticism after ACL injury and surgery. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what separates people who finish rehab strong from those who keep spinning their wheels, and how to set yourself up for a full, safe return to the activities that you love. Let's dive in. Before we talk about anything related to late-stage ACL rehab, you need to be checking this important box: full resolution of foundational orthopedic impairments. This means that we need full range of motion that is symmetrical to the non-surgical knee, no pain or swelling with daily activities or your current rehab program, and adequate baseline muscle strength. How do you know if you have enough strength? You measure it. There should be no guessing at this stage, or any stage for that matter. In order to safely start training intense plyometrics, cutting drills, and more athletic type training, you should have met these listed strength criteria. In addition, we are looking for good movement quality with squatting, hip hinging, single leg variations, and split stance movements, and also be able to jog at 5 miles an hour for at least 10 minutes with normalized running mechanics. If you want a full breakdown on how to hit these criteria and why they matter, check out my mid-stage ACL recovery video. I'll link it in the top corner and also in the description. Once these are locked down, you are officially ready to enter the late stage. Now let's talk about what your program should include. Here's the first thing you need to know. Quadriceps strength deficits are still extremely common 6 months and later post-op, especially with quad tendon grafts, and patellar tendon grafts to a slightly lesser extent. Hamstring weakness is also common, especially if you had a hamstring graft. So yes, you still need to be getting after it in the gym because strength training is still a top priority. At this stage, weights should be relatively heavy, meaning your sets of squats, split squats, and deadlifts should be legitimately challenging with weights that you could maybe hit for 6 to 10 reps, not 15 to 20. Depending on your training experience and prior rehab program, challenging sets of around 5 reps will really push those strength gains. As for exercises, you still need both compound, multi-joint exercises like squats, hinges, and lunges, and isolated strength work like knee extensions and hamstring curls. If you want a deep dive into how I help clients build real, measurable strength, check out my PR Mindset video. The link is in the top corner and in the video description. Strength is still king in this stage, but it's not the only thing you need. Strength alone isn't enough for a full recovery. You need to be able to use that strength and use it fast. Most sports and athletic activities require explosiveness. This ability is referred to as rate of force development, and it's crucial for cutting, jumping, sprinting, and pretty much every athletic movement. But here's the part most people misunderstand. Training explosiveness is pointless if you don't have enough baseline strength. Think of strength as the size of the engine, and rate of force development is as how fast that engine can accelerate. Even if you're not returning to an explosive sport, improving your rate of force development still has its benefits. It just won't be prioritized as much in your recovery. One of the best ways to improve rate of force development is through jump training and plyometrics. While many people use these terms interchangeably, they are different and train different qualities. For example, jump training would include single bouts where each rep can be individually separated, where plyometrics involve consecutive explosive movements utilizing the stretch shortening cycle. However, both can be programmed to improve rate of force development. Early plyometrics might include exercises like pogo hops and light effort leaps, while early jumps might include things like box jumps variations and hop and stick drills. Depending on your end goals, these need to be progressed in volume, intensity, and goal task specificity throughout the late stage. By the middle to end of the stage, you should be training max effort attempts with good mechanics and appropriate volume. Traditional strength training movements can also be used to improve rate of force development, but their application makes all the difference. Using relatively lighter loads with the intent of moving fast is essential. This can be from a dead stop or regular repetitions with explosive concentric phases. Being strong and explosive doesn't matter if your gas tank is constantly empty. Conditioning is a massive piece of late-stage recovery, and it must match the demands of your sport or goal activity. Why? Poor conditioning means quicker fatigue. More fatigue results in decreased neuromuscular performance, and that may contribute to a higher injury risk. The type of conditioning you need depends on your goals. An American football lineman will require a much different conditioning program than a midfielder in soccer. A hiker needs something different than a basketball player, right? And because your legs are already being heavily used during strength work, plyometrics, and running drills, it's smart to incorporate lower impact conditioning like swimming, biking, and rowing. Most people never actually rebuild sport level conditioning, and that's one of the biggest gaps I see in traditional rehab programs. Your gym program is essential, but it's not enough. You need to bridge the gap between the weight room and the field, the court, the trail, or the slopes. And this is where most traditional programs fail. Most people are simply told, just go slow and ease back into it. But that's vague, lazy advice that leaves people at risk for re-injury. There needs to be sufficient preparation for athletic maneuvers, a graded introduction to sport-specific movements, and proper reintegration into sporting activities. A structured progression matters. A 4-stage return to sport progression is suggested by author and researcher Matthew Buckthorpe. The first stage is on-field preparation. This should include multi-directional running, deceleration drills, cutting maneuvers, reactive movement retraining, sport-specific movement patterns, and activity-specific conditioning. These should be gradually progressed in volume, intensity, complexity, and specificity, but only when you show good control, no pain, no swelling, and no hesitation or apprehension. A soccer player, for example, should be training deceleration, multi-angle cutting drills, sprinting, and pivoting, eventually while dribbling a ball. By the end of this stage, your program should simulate the demands of your sport. If it doesn't, you're leaving a massive gap between where you are and where you want to be. Stage 2 is a return to training. Once adequately prepared, you rejoin your team or coach for individual practices, beginning with skill work and eventually adding dynamic reactive drills with sport-specific decision-making. For example, a basketball player would start with skill work like shooting and dribbling and also running non-contact plays. Then they would progress to drills with live defenders. If all goes well, then the third stage is a guided return to competition where you participate in scrimmages and games, but with a minutes restriction that gradually increases over several weeks. The fourth and final stage is a return to performance. You're not just back, you're performing at your pre-injury level or better. The ultimate goal is to return to your active lifestyle safely and confidently, but the specifics of the criteria that we are looking to achieve really depend on your goals. What it takes to get back to soccer will vary from what it takes to get back to skiing. What it takes to get back to hiking will be different than mixed martial arts. Different goals require different preparation, but there are universal criteria that everyone should meet before returning to their goal activity. You should have full symmetrical range of motion, 90% or greater strength in all major leg muscle groups when comparing side to side, and adequate knee strength relative to your body weight. Rate of force development that is at least 90% of the non-surgical leg and meets your goal activity-specific demands, sufficient activity-specific cardiovascular fitness, and adequate confidence. This isn't about checking boxes. It's about protecting the knee that you worked so hard to rebuild and returning confidently without second-guessing every step. Proper testing is non-negotiable. Passing specific testing criteria has been shown to reduce ACL second injury rates by up to 84%. Failing to meet these criteria results in a 30 to 40-fold increase in re-injury rate. If you're a young athlete and looking to get back to competitive sports, 40-fold. That's how important testing is. For a complete breakdown on the specific tests that you need in order to know that you are safe and prepared to return to sports, check out my video on proper testing after ACL surgery. As always, video card in the top corner and link is in the description. So to crush the late stage of ACL recovery, remember this: you can only perform at the level that you're prepared for. Everything here builds on the strength, control, and quality that you developed earlier. And now it's about turning that foundation into real athleticism and confidence. Don't rush, don't guess, follow the milestones, not the calendar. If this video helped, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. It goes a long way. And if you're stuck at any point in your recovery and you want expert guidance, click the link in the description to book a free call with me. We'll figure out what's exactly holding you back, and I'll show you how to build a recovery plan that actually gets you back to the activities that you love.